Nobody does hypocrisy quite like South Africa. Today is Human Rights Day, where we commemorate those who lost their lives at Sharpeville whilst protesting against a system of apartheid. On behalf of the Referendum Party, I want to pay my respects to those who died. And I personally want to say sorry for any part that I may have played, either directly or by association, in perpetuating or not doing enough to oppose apartheid. Sadly, none of us can turn back the clock. All we can do is commit to learning the lessons of the past and doing our part to ensure that they're not repeated. And in this regard, South Africa is failing abjectly. Outside of South Africa, the 21st of March is not called Human Rights Day. It is called the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. Well, you can certainly see why South Africa wouldn't want to call it that. In South Africa, we belligerently refuse to do away with apartheid-era racial classifications, and we continue to expand the implementation of ever more draconian race-based policies. And even a cursory glance at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights should have South Africa blushing in shame. It says, everyone has the right to life, liberty, and security of the person. And if that were true, Becky Chelly would resign in shame, and the ANC would accede to the Western Cape's request to police itself. All are equal before the law, it says. Well, if that were true, Jacob Zuma would be in a prison cell alongside Shabir Shaik. Everyone has a right to own property, and no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his property, it says. And if these were true, then Julius Malema would not be allowed to call for expropriation without compensation. And for those of us who are desperate to escape the nauseating immorality and gross incompetence of a South African national government, which the majority of us in the Western Cape have never once voted for, there is one more undeniable and unquestionable human right, which is absolutely essential to our physical and mental welfare. And this, of course, is the right to self-determination. And this is a right which South Africa has repeatedly sworn to uphold since 1994. And it is a right which Western Cape Premier Alan Winde urgently needs to reacquaint himself with if he's to uphold his solemn oath to act in the best interests of the Western Cape people. The United Nations describes self-determination like this. In its essence, the right of self-determination means that individuals and peoples should be in control of their own destinies and should be able to live out their identities, whether within the boundaries of existing states or through independence. Well, in the Western Cape, we want to take control of our own destiny. And we want the Western Cape Premier to uphold his duty to act in our best interests, and in accordance with Section 1272F of the Constitution, to call a referendum on Cape independence, which will allow the Western Cape people to determine their own future. And I want to finish with a stern warning to the Western Cape Premier. When it comes to Cape independence, your party is lying and deceiving the people of the Western Cape, and this must end. You know as well as we do that there is no prospect of the multi-party charter becoming the government of South Africa in 2024. You know as well as we do that the most likely outcome of the 2024 elections is a national government which will be immeasurably worse than even the current ANC government. And you know as well as we do, because you have the same legal opinion that we do, that if you want to call a referendum on Cape independence, all you have to do is call it. And in 2024, Western Cape self-determination is not a nice to have. And Premier Winde, if you actively choose to deny it to us, then it will become an indelible stain on your conscience. We implore you, serve the people who elected you and show South Africa that at least in the Western Cape, the concept of human rights still has some meaning. Thank you.